Assalamu alaikum class 7 students. I hope you are doing great. I am Muhammad Kamal, your English subject teacher at the Educator's Al-Noor campus, Baghdada, Mardan. Today, we are going to learn about reflexive pronouns and how to identify them in sentences. We will do this by circling the reflexive pronoun in each sentence and drawing a line back to the subject it is reflecting. This activity will help you understand reflexive pronouns and how they are used in sentences. Understanding reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. A reflexive pronoun is used when the subject and the object of a sentence are the same person or thing. They end in self for singular. For example, myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, and selves for plural. For example, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. List of reflexive pronouns. Myself, used when I is the subject. Yourself, used when you singular is the subject. Yourselves, used when you plural is the subject. Himself, used when he is the subject. Herself, used when she is the subject. Itself, used when it is the subject. Ourselves, used when we is the subject. Themselves, used when they is the subject. Explanation for each sentence. I dressed myself this morning. Look for the reflexive pronoun myself and note that it reflects back to the subject I. Number 2. He made breakfast all by himself. Identify the reflexive pronoun himself and see that it reflects back to the subject he. Number 3. We had to cook for ourselves since mom didn't want to make dinner. Find the reflexive pronoun ourselves and connect it back to the subject we. Number 4. When you go shopping for me, buy a present for yourself. Spot the reflexive pronoun yourself and draw a line back to the subject you. Number 5. She created all the decorations by herself. Identify the reflexive pronoun herself and link it back to the subject she. Number 6. The new robotic toys can put themselves away. Notice that the reflexive pronoun themselves and relate it back to the subject toys. Number 7. They used the camera on the cell phone to take pictures of themselves. Recognize the reflexive pronoun themselves and draw a line back to the subject there. Number 8. The man talked to himself as he walked down the street. See the reflexive pronoun himself and connect it back to the subject the man. Number 9. The parrot admired itself in the mirror for several hours each day. Identify the reflexive pronoun itself and link it back to the subject the parrot. Number 10. I used a video to teach myself how to knit. Find the reflexive pronoun myself and relate it back to the subject I. Number 11. The television uses a timer to turn itself off after 1 hour. Notice the reflexive pronoun itself and connect it back to the subject the television. Number 12. You may help yourself to any of the snacks on the table. Spot the reflexive pronoun yourself and link it back to the subject you. Number 13. He hurt himself on the rusty nail and had to get a shot. Recognize the reflexive pronoun himself and draw a line back to the subject he. Number 14. The little girl learned how to dress herself for school. See the reflexive pronoun herself and connect it back to the subject the little girl. Number 15. When you save money in the bank, it's like you are paying yourself. Identify the reflexive pronoun yourself and relate it back to the subject you. Number 16. We ate so much turkey and pumpkin pie that we made ourselves sick. Notice the reflexive pronoun ourselves and link it back to the subject we. Number 17. The soccer team decided to call themselves the Tiger Tails. Spot the reflexive pronoun themselves and connect it back to the subject the soccer team. Number 18. When I saw myself in the mirror, I realized that I had paint on my cheek. Recognize the reflexive pronoun myself and draw a line back to the subject I. Number 19. Did you take a class in engineering? Or did you teach yourself? See the reflexive pronoun yourself and link it back to the subject you. Number 20. My grandmother is no longer able to feed herself, so I help her. Identify the reflexive pronoun herself and connect it back to the subject, my grandmother. How to do this activity? Circle the reflexive pronoun. Find and circle the reflexive pronoun in each sentence. Number 2. Draw a line from the reflexive pronoun back to the subject it reflects. Reflexive pronouns are used when the subject and the object of the sentence are the same. They help emphasize that the action is performed by and directed at the same person or thing. By practicing this activity, you will become more familiar with identifying and using reflexive pronouns in sentences. Have fun and enjoy your summer homework.